President Uhuru Kenyatta yesterday asked Kenyans to forgive him for the misconduct of the Kenya police and how they've mistreated and brutalized Kenyans, especially during the initial stages of the curfew. And it is my hope that majority of Kenyans have already forgiven President Uhuru Kenyatta. But in my view, the president should do 5 things, which I believe if he will do them, Kenyans will not have any problems obeying the law and maintaining order. And as a matter of fact, Kenyans, if the president will do these 5 things, Kenyans will obey the curfew. The president must do the following. Number 1, the first thing the president must do is to take charge of the daily updates. I know the president might not have enough time to take charge of updating the nation daily. Mutahi Kagwe has been doing a fantastic job and he must continue doing that job. But the president should also continuously address Kenyans. He is the head of the state of this country. He is the commander-in-chief. And the president is the symbol of national unity in this country. And because of that, when the president takes to the podium to address the country, at least Kenyans will have some hope. I'm not saying that Mutahi Kagwe is not giving Kenyans that hope. But the fact of the matter is that the president, as the head of the state, addressing Kenyans on some of these particular matters. Like yesterday, when he addressed the nation through that video link, it was good. And I also expected the president, like when we had these surges now, the graph starting to increase, the president would have been the right person to announce those figures so that Kenyans can take him seriously. Look at our neighboring countries. Uganda, President Museveni is taking personal initiative and addressing the nation every single day. You go to the United States of America, it's the president. Majority of other countries, it's the president who is addressing this issue. So by the president taking charge of this particular issue, then it would mean that he will be rallying the nation around this particular crisis. So I think the president must now start sparing a bit of time to address the nation, even if not daily, but maybe twice a week or maybe thrice a week. But the president should not leave the task of addressing Kenyans to Mutahi Kagwe alone. I believe so. So that's the first thing the president must do. Number 2, I think the president must also look for a way of helping Kenyans with the issue of rent. Kenyans are really concerned about their future. Businesses are closing down. Employers are suspending their operations. There's uncertainty in this country. So I think as the head of the state, the president must look for a solution on how he's going to deal with the issue of rent, especially for Kenyans. Because I've been doing a bit of my research online, and I'm shocked that there are certain Kenyans who have good hearts and already giving their tenants free months. Some are even offering them half price. Let me just read for you a notice by Last Man. For those who are staying in Nairobi, Last Man is one of those real estate companies offering people houses to rent. In their letter, which was dated on 2nd, which is today, to all tenants, where's the letter? To all tenants, the letter is saying rent moratorium, Makina Apartments in Umoja. I refer to the above. As you are all aware, the pandemic is not only a health crisis, but has far-reaching economic implications. In line with this, the landlord has graciously agreed to reduce your rent for the month of April by 3,000 to enable you cope with the current economic times. We shall continue assessing the situation and appraise accordingly. So if landlords on their own volition can feel what the tenants are feeling, What stops President Uhuru Kenyatta from declaring that all tenants should be given certain amount of money to pay rent? Let's say even if it's 5,000. Because majority of Kenyans are staying in these houses of 15,000. Those who are normal or ordinary Kenyans working in the government are struggling, are staying in houses, let's say 18,000 coming downwards. He can even enter into agreements with the landlords, because most of these landlords also pay taxes. So he can enter into an agreement on tax waivers, especially on rent. And let me just also show you something which also caught my attention online. There's a guy called Eddie. Keaton is a guy I know. He's a businessman in Kisumu here. So he's saying something, that some landlords are God sent. Yesterday, I made a request to two of my landlords. One declined my offer without blinking an eye, but just now the other one called and tells me that he will charge me half the rent until everything normalizes. Kindly just try your luck with your landlord. Even at hard times like this, when I'm unable to pay my rent, my landlord still refers to me as a brother. Help me pray for my landlord plus other landlord. This guy has the game. These guys are the game changers as at today. So the issue of Eddie, for example, I know him. He's not an ordinary businessman. This is a serious businessman in Kisumu. He's one of the top businessmen in Kisumu. And I know he really expanded his business, which is Homeland Events. And he's paying so many people. He has employed so many people. His landlord, one of them, agreed half price. So which means the issue of rent is a serious issue. In the next 2 months, in the next 1 month, majority of Kenyans will start defaulting. Just the other day, we've seen several companies laying off their staff, sending them off, sending them home on paid leaves. That's what most majority of them are saying. But I'm sure they'll just do this for a month. In the next 2 months, they'll not be sending them anything. So you are staying at home, you don't have any income, your landlord is also expecting you to pay. And of course, we must also agree that majority of landlords are also depending on these investments. So that's why the government must come in and find a solution. So if the president can sort out the issue of rents to majority of Kenyans, I don't hope to see majority of Kenyans trying to resist the order when the time for the curfew reaches. Number 3, I think this need for the president to assure employers and employees about their employment. Take, for example, the tourism industry, which is the hardest hit. How will the employers continue paying rent for these people? How will they continue paying rent? How will they continue paying salaries for staffs when they are not doing businesses? And the employees, assuming they are going home, how will they be assured of retaining their jobs when everything normalizes? So I think the president must start figuring out how he's going to deal with these situations. Because of course you can't force employers to pay people when they're not in business. But at least you can force them to ensure that when everything normalizes, then they should retain the people who are working there already, in my view. Or you can give them incentives, tax breaks, so that you can agree with them that every year you pay this amount of tax. But because we have a crisis, we are going to do this to cover for that, but continue paying your employees. I don't know how that can be done, but I think if the president will be able to do that, then everything will be okay. Number 4, which is also big, is food. In this country, we have people who every morning, they leave their houses, they go to industrial area. They do those jobs, then at the end of the day, they are given their money, paid, even if it's 200, even if it's 500. Then they go home, they spare some for transport tomorrow, they spare some to feed their families, they spare some for their kids' education. So if the government, because now everything is at standstill, if the government can come in and start giving food rations, because this is what most countries are already doing, then I don't think it will be a big deal. I don't think it will be a very big deal if the government can step in to offer kind of food rations. And I've been thinking that maybe the government has that idea, but time is also running out. It's high time now that the president should figure out how Kenyans are going to be fed. You can't expect people to stay at their home and then they don't have anything to feed their families. Most companies have already closed. Those are the realities. And with the increased cases which were just announced today by Mutahi Kagwe, we must expect the worst. So we must work from worse coming at least to better. We can't assume that things are normal. Things are not normal in this country. So Uhuru Kenyatta, in my view, should consider how he's going to feed the nation. Because the fact is, we are his subject. He's the president. If Kenyans are hungry, he must provide for them. And he swore to protect them. And one way of protecting them is to ensure that they have food. Lastly, is security. It's too hot today in Kisumu. Lastly, is security of Kenyans during this curfew. Because jobs are not there and because people are not going to work, insecurity is going to increase. Kisumu already, it has increased. There are vijanas who are harassing people left, right, and center at night, breaking into homes, stealing. People are not sleeping. And I'm not that something which has replicated itself. I'm even aware that in Eldoret, insecurity has also increased. I'm sure if Kisumu and Eldoret are already experiencing this, then automatically Nairobi is the same, Mombasa is the same, and other major towns. So Uhuru, as the president, must figure out how he's going to ensure security of Kenyans during this particular time. Because I'm suspecting, and I think I did a comprehensive video on that in the next 1 or 2 weeks, probably the country is going to be locked down. Because already an order has been issued that if you're in Nairobi, you are not allowed to move from Nairobi to the villages. So that's partial lockdown. I don't know what you think, but in my view, I strongly believe if the president can do those 5 things, then Kenyans will easily find it just in order to obey the curfews, and everything will just fall in its place. I don't know what you think. Or what other thing do you think the president should do for Kenyans during this harsh economic time, which Kenyans are going to face? Thank you guys. And if you're bumping on this video for the first time, the best thing you can do is to hit the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, you get notified. And with the subscribers, I want to continue to thank you guys for your continued support. It's very difficult, even for me here, it's very difficult. For me, I know majority of my subscribers are normally in the United States, in the UK, in Italy, Europe. That's where I get majority of traffic to this channel, by the way. And they're in a crisis, majority of them. And I'm just hoping all of them are fine, because there's some I always chat with, always call me. I no longer receive those calls. So I just want to assume that it's because of this particular situation. And we hope everything will just go back to normal and will continue the way we normally do. And I want to pray for each and every member of this channel so that they can be protected wherever they are. Thank you guys, and please may you have a good day. Bye bye. Hey, leo kuna joto. Hii joto imetoka wapi leo? Oh, look at the way I've sweated. I'm sweating. Yeah. But maybe this is good. This is good for us here. I'm told if the temperature is also scaring away the virus.